Much of time, I would ask our moderator to begin the whole program, and let's all benefit out of this. Once all this is done, the forum will be open for free Q&A. So please feel free to ask your questions. You can point out to a specific person if you would like to ask a specific question to individual. Uh, yeah. So we would like to welcome. Thank you for coming here. So I'm leaving the floor open for the discussion. Thank you.
Check. Hey everyone. Hi. Thanks for being here on Saturday 4:30 p.m. I'm sure it must be a difficult task, but yeah, thank you so much. To reintroduce myself, I am Vipul Ajmera. I am brand solutions lead at IFP. My work revolves around all things culture shift, culture shifting campaigns and creating IPs at IFP with global level brands right from Spotify to Budweiser to Chroma to Hero. We have our two awesome speakers here who are going to talk about all things digital, how things were, how things are currently, and what's going to happen in the future as well. Because this realm of digital media advertising is always changing, is always evolving. Okay, but before that, I want to ask you one question. In my personal experience, like from whatever I have up till now, I have this observation that what it was and what's going to be, one thing's not going to change is that clients expecting us to work on projects without giving us advances. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but we don't work without advances. Probably you're the first agency in Ahmedabad to say that. There was one point when we started off, and I lost a couple of last payments which did not come through. When we decided we'll take 100% advance. So for 5 years, 2007 to 2012, we said we'll take 100% advance, otherwise we'll not pick up a project. And then of course, we had to kind of fall in line, but we still work only with advances. I think it has never been a challenge for us. I think if you can communicate the value that you're going to offer and make client understand that how your finances are structured, I think they understand. Also, usually the kind of brands and clients that we work with, they are so big compared to where we stand. They totally understand. They are happy to oblige if they feel that they're going to get what they're looking for. They don't mind at all.
Yeah, I think we have the same policy. Without advance, we don't work. But then the question is, it has come to a point that why do you want to work with a person who does not value you? Like, are you not sure of your own services or offering that you have to succumb to that? And any time when that is mutually not respected, you'll end up chasing the payment. So it's your conscious choice to let go of certain accounts and let go of not work with certain brands and then go. Because corporates also, when what Chirag said, there are larger corporates where they come on board, they said we have these terms and we have these policies and all. But then you don't have to chase. That's just like your invoice goes in their system and then system is going to auto pay. Versus you have business owners where you have to call 10 times and get the payment. So it's the choice that you make that how you don't. Otherwise you can't manage the cash flow, you can't grow the company.
I'll just quickly add something to that. So like earlier we were talking about the purchase making certain decisions. So we've seen that so many times the marketing team will fight for us and say these guys may be a little selective in how they're putting across the terms and conditions, but we want to work only with them. So we've never had a problem, even with purchases also, working with them. And like Khushboo said, you have to be ready to get up and walk out if it doesn't work. But I feel by and large it works for us.
I genuinely want to believe you. I genuinely want that system to be, incorporated. But, there are small agencies out there who are getting lured in this kind of mechanism to get that new client, to get that higher value, deal for them. XYZ it can be something, 1 crore for someone, it can be 100 crores for anyone. So it's like a thing. They always are trying to set up a pattern. But jokes aside, I am going to start.
Actually, it's about the what leverage are you ready to give for getting a business. It's a very business decision more than a payment decision. Trust me. Like if you really want certain business as an entry, you take a calculated risk and you prove yourself and do that. As a business, forget about the creative work that we do, but we are also in a business. So it is more about taking a business decision. It's not about small company, bigger company, startup, getting lured by it or not. It's about just a pure business decision.
Actually, in our case, it is like I just said, it's the other way around. When we were a small company, we were charging 100% advance. Then we realized that if we really want to grow, that it's not really practical. So then we had to change slowly. We had to change our processes. But when we were small, we had far better leverage as an agency than what we have now. Now, like she said, now we are running a business, so we have also our bills to pay, salaries to pay, etc. So we have to be mindful of that. But in fact, smaller companies in a market like Ahmedabad has far better leverage than a bigger company.
So before we go into the future of digital media advertising, I want to talk about what has happened so far. The kind of shifts what we have seen in the past in the digital media. What was it about? Like, what was the major impact? Was it the videos getting popular, or brands realizing that there should be an emotional connect in the kind of content you're creating, or your basic social media presence as well? Can you tell us some views about? Sorry. So basically, we have seen a lot of different shifts in the digital media ads in the past 10 years. They've been shape-shifting. Like first there was no influencer marketing. Right now there's influencer marketing. People used to just create DVCs, or they decided to have social media presence in 2015, and then they are spending maximum of your budgets, like especially the companies who are growing now as startups. So what has led that shift? Like, why is there a shift, and what are your views on it?
Well, I think the shifts usually follow, so as an agency or even for clients, you have to go wherever the consumers are. So as the consumption pattern of people will shift, you will have to shift. When we started, so we were the first digital agency in Ahmedabad to establish this back in 2006-07. We had to convince so much to the client that this is a media which you should consider, because you'll have a lot of control over who is going to consume whatever you're going to produce, and you're going to get far better ROI than whatever you're going to get anywhere else. Now, I think it is quite established. You talked about influencers. I believe influencers trend is already kind of gone. Now you have content creations. So content creators. So people, influencers which were just talking about products, they are not relevant anymore unless they are creating content which is adding some value over and above whatever the communication the brand has already done. Then it's not going to really make any impact in the market. So trends are going to continuously change. You'll have to go wherever the consumers are. If you focus on that, I think everything else kind of takes care of itself.
I think there's a book by Elvin Toffler where he talks about how the human race has evolved. Compared to the last 100 years, if you forget last 100 years and go back to the century, the amount of human evolution that has happened in terms of technology, industries, everything, last 100 years have been the most rapid compared to the all previous years. Last 20 years have been even faster than those 100 years. Coming 10 years and coming 5 years are going to be even more rapid than that. That's the way it's catching up. So it's about, when you say digital, it's just the media. What has changed is event of technology when it came to 2020 with mobile, or now in 2010 when it came to the spectrums opening up, to the reach. More than 80 million people today use data-driven phones in India. So the proximity of, you know, reaching out. So the whole idea of one TV in a one house, to right now one person with one phone which acts as a TV. So that is personalization of the whole evolution of a human behavior. With this personalization has got what we call it a digital. So it's like Chirag said, that where you go where consumer is. So that precisely what has changed. If you ask me that what has happened, the happen is that it's been happening so fast, and because we're going through it, we don't realize it. But if you just take a pause and go back and understand and read through certain literatures, it says that it's going to happen even faster than we realize, and then it's going to stop suddenly. So now there is your digital detox, and there is no phone zones, and then you want to go into area where there's no network, and all of that you're looking for, right? But still there is a lot more to penetrate in lot many areas, lot many things are not there. So that change is where the people are behaving, living, working. Average phone, what's your average phone space time? You have iPhone, no? How much is your, whatever, check what would be your average time spent on phone. Like it would be 3 to 5 hours के बीच में, right? Any time. उसमें से maximum 60% Instagram होगा, फिर email app होगा, फिर, right? So that's how everyone sitting here is like. Now if you say that I want to reach out to you, why will I advertise on to, you know, newspaper or hoarding? I will just directly go where you are. So that's what digital is all about. It's an advertisers using a different media. So nothing has changed. It's just that the way technology is evolving.
So do you think there was a time when agencies or business were pushing people or making them understand, hey, this is something new has come into the market? Rather now it is other way around, and customers are asking agencies, can you show us a little more? Can you do something new in this specific trend?
So I think the major change that has happened is, earlier there was, I'm talking of 50s, where the time was when somebody would say, I have a product I want to market. So they go and they do research, then they kind of, basis of research, what they find out is the idea, that what problem people are looking for, how you solve. This is the time when you're trying to sell refrigerator as idea. This is the time when you're selling categories that are like a household for us right now. That time the problem was selling the idea to a person, that, you know, you need this. Category creation, that is what we call. Now we have every possible category, we are showing the value add, reason for people and all. So that the advertising as in fundamental is ever evolving. Fast forward to our time. Now when people come to an agency or anyone, it's more than a creative, it's about the effectiveness of reaching out to people to communicate what is the solution that you're offering, what is your product, and the creative mechanism sits on top of that. First you have to figure out the solution as in, so people come to an agency or people come to an advertiser saying that I have this problem, you solve that for me. Media is still irrelevant, but you're both using your print. Does not mean that it does not, print is irrelevant. The question is how effectively it is using it. So your creative mechanism is sitting on top of the idea or a solution that you're talking about. So it's not about कैसे use कर रहे हो, कहाँ use कर रहे हो. It's about what problem are you trying to solve, what messaging. And any campaign that you can think of last 2 years, 3 years that has worked great is where they have really addressed the problem and a solution part very effectively.
So no, my still question remains here, where I see what you are saying is a conventional or traditional way of approach that has been now shifted, where there was a struggle when agencies were dealing with to move towards digital. But now even I am finding that people, they would like to move a little ahead of digital. They are asking agency what new things you can bring about.
But that's again a wrong question. What has new got to do with anything?
They themselves don't know.
Exactly.
They themselves don't know what they are asking for.
That's the buzzword. AI de do, CGI de do. Matlab, that's, how is it helpful? How is it relevant? What greater an idea? What problem is it solving? So that's a very, pehle 5 years back people had Instagram में likes de do. Then Instagram said, क्या करोगे likes का? मैं तो reach ही नहीं दूँगा. Right? So it's a wrong question, and every age, every break, this question is going to come. Naya de do. That's not something.
Actually, new is a basic function of advertising. It not necessarily, if you have a product that you are talking about, you will have to, you'll have to talk about the benefits of the product or what value it adds to a consumer's life. But new is a function, is a basic function of advertising, and it comes from the fact that you want to engage the consumer. Why you want new? Because you want to interact with them, and you are working on a limited budget, or you're working in a very crowded space where everybody's trying to kind of eye the same consumer. So that is where it comes. I think that has remained constant from day one when the advertising started. Only thing is, it was easier because it was not as cluttered. There's not so much content being dished out to consumers. Now consumers are spoiled for choice. So your job has become slightly more difficult. But that new or engaging or interesting, that's never going to change. And that's essentially what advertising has. It's a basic function. Irrespective of what your category is, what your product is, who your target audience is, you will still have to figure out how you're going to engage, interest him in whatever you're talking about. So, and it has got nothing, like she said, it has got nothing to do with the media. So it doesn't matter whether it is, you are doing it on Instagram or on TV. Earlier consumers were on TV, so you are doing it on TV. Now they are here on digital, you're doing it digital. Probably tomorrow they move on to something else, you'd probably have to figure out something else.
Since we are talking so much about numbers and the reach and engagement here, sometimes it's not just about that. Eventually, what a brand would want is to sell their product. And they put in immense budget in whatever influencer marketing, media push that they are doing. But that expectation falls short sometimes. Like even after putting so much money, that doesn't happen. So what are the strategies that the marketers should pick knowing their product, and what's the best way to do them? Like irrespective of the category, of course.
Well, if there were one size fit all, then we would have really loved it. Or we would have not been in business, both of them. So it's never going to happen, right? So how, like she said, how do you consume media, or how do you make your buying decision? In fact, right now we are in a space where everybody, so when I started in advertising, you could draw a very straight line between the income groups. So we used to classify everybody, SSC1, SSC2, so forth. And you can draw a straight line between, if this is the consumer, these are the right products, he is going to pick from this pool. That is completely gone now. I don't think in advertising we've seen that anymore, because the buying pattern has completely changed. If I have, and she has a large team, the people with different salaries, that does not mean they are going to buy things according to their salaries. They are going to buy, the buying decision pattern has completely changed, which means you'll have to completely customize each person. Same product, if you want to sell to 10 people, each one will buy the same product for very different reasons. And that will not connect, you will not be able to draw a straight line between that and his income. So, it is always going to be customized, far more fragmented now than it has ever been in the past.
I think this is a thing that I tell my clients also. Who is your larger denominator? Like, you have to ask right questions. Before drawing any of these strategies, you have to ask these questions that, who do you want as a consumer? Why do you want that as a consumer? How, scale, where, why will they consume your product? You have a lot of these formats and questions that you need to ask before getting down to a one answer, which is never a one answer. Also, sometimes what is the case is when now there are two cases. One is you have business owners who are very close to their business and they think मुझे पता है मेरा product पता है, मेरा market पता है, मेरा consumer पता है. तो आपको मैं बोल रहा हूँ वो करके दे दो. Like sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Why? Because sometimes being too close to your business is also gives you a very different picture, right? So it's about, as an agency, you figure out who you are working for, how much open they are, how well they are. You have to understand a lot of things before drawing any of those strategies. And second time it is, you have these brand managers who come in and they are working. They are like a very makeshift. They're looking for the best thing in their CV. They're looking for next campaign for their CV. So वो campaign करेगा, 2 साल करेगा नौकरी चेंज हो जाएगी, उसको पड़ी नहीं है कंपनी का क्या हो रहा है. सो वी एज अ मार्केटर वर्क विद ऑल द काइंड ऑफ prospects, and that's where we draw that कि भाई प्रॉब्लम क्या सॉल्व कर रहे हैं, हम मैनेजर का प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहे हैं कि हम बिजनेस का प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहे हैं. योर स्ट्रैटेजीज, योर सोल्यूशंस कम फ्रॉम अ वेरी डिफरेंट पॉइंट इन द horizon where you are coming from. Sometimes I've seen in a larger corporates they ask agency बस award winning campaign कर दो because we want it out there. उससे business में क्या फ़र्क पड़ा किसी को कोई मतलब नहीं है. So it's all kinds, and like still we are sitting in a state where every business is very savvy, every business counts the penny they spent on advertising. But if you go to Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, more national companies, more corporates, I think even the biggest flooper campaign also nobody asks for accountability. So it's like really honestly your question, like Chirag said, has no one answer. It's very very different to put it in a one line.
Got it. But since you mentioned brand managers, like everybody's working for an award-winning campaign. So basically what they're doing is to just get that KPI, just to get that their numbers sorted, which is not solving company's problem. Do you see any time in future that practice is going to change?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like I think advertising is very glamorous to certain aspect. People even not just for the managers or anything. I have met business owners who say I have this agency, I have this agency. Why? Because I want to be in a social circle to say that मेरे लिए ये advertising agency काम करती है. I can pick up the call with this, like you agree with me. So that's half the time agencies are like this glam quotient that you kind of pick up and you talk about. At least अपने स्टेट में कम है again, but outside it's pretty much like that. Who I hang out with, who I meet with, and the campaign is discussed also at that level. फिर वो नीचे वाले खाली execute ही करते हैं. So
I actually have a little bit of disagreement there. There are businesses and there are businesses. I've seen so many businesses which are focused and often too much focused.
The business, when you talk of business, it's there.
Yeah.
But I'm saying when corporate and the whole thing comes in.
Yeah, you are right that anybody who's there within that position, they would have their own narrow interest and focus. Yeah, narrow interest focus and short-term thought process. Yeah, the business, the vision of the business and the vision of the person who is making decisions, if they don't match, then that's bound to happen, right?
So you mean to say influencer within the decision making?
Very big driver of that is any which case it is. Like when it is creative, it's very subjective. What you like, I might not like, right? The power of digital is also that when the numbers speak, many a times lot of things can be negated. So what you say viral, what you say this campaign worked or didn't work. Quantification wise, digital allows you to do that very effectively because numbers cannot lie, right? Your creativity is very subjective, but when it comes to digital, it's accountable. So that's where the story changes. But creative, when it comes to, it's very subjective. You might like it, I might not like it, others might like it. It's who is it for, why is it for, that all is subjective.
So we are in a business where everybody is pretty much expert, and especially the boy who's just joined, landed from US and joined the business. He knows far better.
He knows it more than us.
And his father.
He knows it more than us, and everything gets scrutinized, everything get questioned, everything get subjected to. Sometimes we say this is not the thing that you need to spend too much time on. नहीं पर इसको नहीं पसंद आया, उसको नहीं पर. Then we say that's not your consumer. नहीं पर उसको पसंद नहीं आया ना. So फिर हम defeat हो जाते हैं वहाँ पे. Like purpose is defeated, then that's not the fight we want to have.
I think if they see something not believable online as well, like people are now understanding the authenticity in content as well, like they can call it out. There are ways to call it out. They just start another.
What do you call Ori?
Sorry,
what do you call Ori?
it's a brand.
What brand it is for? Tell me that.
Ori, right?
Yeah. What brand it is? What is
he's
it?
representing himself.
But what is he?
He's everything that you want. Ori 1, Ori 2, Ori 3, Ori 4, whatever.
There is no Ori 3, please. That's Ori 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. 3 is fired. Anyways, the question
You
is...
watched it better before we probably.
Yeah, so
I
that's what
slept almost halfway.
That's what I'm saying.
My wife's sitting over there, she can vouch for it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That is all about subjectivity. You and I cannot agree on something, but there are brands lining up to sign him up and do a campaign with him, which fundamentally I don't agree with. But then there is an
That's
audience
just
for
for
that.
views. Like whatever he'll try to sell doesn't mean that if he's promoting a Boat earphone, doesn't mean that people will buy Boat earphone just because he's promoting it. That's what they'll
But
call it out.
still, Boat is spending money with him, right?
That's again the brand manager angle that we were talking about, because
I have got a message just two weeks back from an agency in Bombay saying that these are the rates for Ori. Please pitch it to your client. And I'm still like, for what?
Actually, something that we advertisers sometimes miss out is that one of the function of advertising is also creating awareness. So what happens is, if you put a product in front of people through anybody who has got such a large audience, awareness benefit is definitely going to come back. But is it really creating the kind of value for the same amount of effort and money? That is the real question to ask. Having said that, awareness will always get you sale, right? But is it proportional to the amount of effort and money that you put in? Or could you make better use of the same amount of money? Or are you going to benefit long term? How is it going to impact your brand in the long run? Those are the right questions to ask.
Do you think, like, if we be just number centric, like performance marketing or AI or probably the new emerging technologies, will that be more beneficial in some time future? Or if there's a change like that is coming, what is so special about it?
See, essentially, all businesses are number centric. Essentially, what we are trying to do is what somebody's trying to do when he's running a business and say, okay, what is the profitability last year? What is the profitability this year? What is the top line last year? What is the top line next year? So that is the basic function that all of us, whichever stream within the business that you are catering to, advertising is just one part of it. So the idea is that you link everything back to number. Somebody's definitely going to do that. Traditionally, it was difficult because traditional media, it was difficult to measure. So it was difficult to draw that line, which means whoever is presenting, if he is creative enough, then he'll sell anything that he can sell in a boardroom, right? Now it is easier because digital media gives you that line between, whatever you spend, whatever efforts you put in, whatever amount of time that you spend on something, is it generating what kind of result? Also, we have to remember that sometimes when you're looking at number, it becomes very short term for us, and that is a disaster. Any activity that you do, it could have impact short term. Like you're running at 30% sale right now, you want to impact this bottom line right now. That's why you're running it. But not all campaigns are meant for that. So whenever you are defining the objective of the campaign, that's the point really, that how much of it you are going to measure in what numbers, right? Are you going to link everything to sales? Or are you going to link it to awareness? How you are going to link, which numbers are you going to look at really?
What was the question?
Question was where is, like for example, performance
Where is performance marketing going?
Yeah, performance marketing and everything is too data driven. And if
it's
that's
not.
the shift that's happening
No,
now.
it's data driven. Everything is going to be data driven. As we go personalize, everything is data driven. But performance marketing is more about, in performance marketing, it's also about awareness. It's also about intelligence. It's just that the advertising has gotten smarter. Like if I'm sitting and talking with somebody about a shoe, that I'm looking to buy a shoe, my phone is listening now, then it's going to show me a shoe ad from 5 brands. If I engage with it, it'll show me few more shoe brands till I buy something. Once I bought it, the ads will stop. It will show me again. So it's just gotten smarter. It's just that how you are plugging your consumer journey. It's about, for brands, it's more about defining the consumer journey for them. Like someone saying that digital karna hai, and I was talking to a client and I was telling them that like one of our clients, who's been very big on OH and print for over a decade has never paid focus on digital, and suddenly now when we show them numbers and all, very remote store in a Morbi had someone going with the digital screenshot of an ad and saying that I want this product only, and the product valued around 85,000, and they bought it. So store sent this report, and then marketing manager was talking to me and saying that there are cases now people are going and asking from the digital ad and saying that कि मुझे ये चाहिए, क्योंकि अभी भी digital buy नहीं करना है. So now how do you measure the effectiveness of digital? It's just the one of the media that has come in. So it's even for a client who is, chalo, he's not savvy to buy online, but the others would have bought an online. There might be a case someone saw it, liked it, and bought it also online. So it's about the consumer journey. The consumer journey is not limited to store. Consumer journey is not limited to only online buying. So if Parachute hair oil, which is I don't know, maybe 80 rupees, 90 rupees, 100 rupees ka product hai, right? It's a GT ka product, right? Agree? GT का प्रोडक्ट है. GT के प्रोडक्ट में GT का मार्जिन होता है, GT का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होता है, वो पूरा अलग होता है. जो FMCG में will understand this language. Now, but if you go to hair oil and search in Amazon, the first product that comes is Parachute right now. Why? Does it make sense business-wise when you have Kama Ayurveda selling 700 में much smaller bottle in Amazon with a proper margin? Parachute is advertising there. Why it is advertising is because that has now become an advertising space that a targeted person looking for hair oil is searching for it, and I don't want to lose that consumer who's looking for hair oil. Wherein I'm spending money in print and TV to throw that I am who I am. Here somebody is looking for me and can purchase also. So the consumer journey has changed. You understand where? So if somebody buys from Amazon a Parachute oil, it's a very expensive affair for a company. The cost of shipping, processing, Amazon margins, it's just a different business model. And trust me, all large FMCGs are figuring that out right now because they've never been prepared for that. They're too heavy on your mainline, your traditional distribution, that if you ask them to be ready for digital, they are not. So every large company is right now figuring it out that how we are going to be, why there are acquisitions for Beardos and why there are acquisitions for young FMCGs, because they have cracked it and they want it. If you get it, your Bombay Shaving Company is acquired by whom? Is acquired by a company because they wanted to set up a D2C for the rest of the product, right? So they've become basically a D2C shop for that large pharma company. So it's about the consumer journey that is changing, that needs to be mapped, and advertising, digital, performance marketing, everything will map in line with that.
So talking about the future here, basically when you see AI coming in, and probably I would expect like in some time future, there will be personalized ads that will be customly created for a person. Like it's not just based on your interest or something. It's exactly, if I want a MG car, I would not just get an ad of MG car, I would probably get a MG car which I like in blue color. Do you think that's possible in some time future in advertising and digital space?
It's already happening. It's already happening. We've just run a campaign for a brand last 2 years we've been running, where we have approximately 1,500 data sets in 18 languages, which is shown to them based on their Google weather app integration. So I run on an intelligence of a 2 or 3 consumer insights that a brand had given us in our first meeting. That अभी तक हमारा धंधा ऐसे होता है, हमारे ट्रेड में ऐसे ही धंधा होता है, दैट ऐसे ही धंधा होता है और ये हुआ है. जो उसने 2 सेंटेंस बोले थे were the consumer insights, basis of which we designed a campaign which has been the most successful for them so far. This is going to be 3rd year we'll be running ads for them. The question is that it's already happening. The advertising has gone personal. Advertising has gone lingual. It's localized. It's preferred. Like I will get a shoe ad, he will not get a shoe ad. You will get a jewelry ad, he will get something else. That is already has happened. Now what you're talking about, a customized ad or a customized selection, it's just about the plugging in tools and technology and everything.
Not just another ad set running, probably like customly AI has created.
इट्स जस्ट अ प्लग इन यार, 5-10 मिनट गूगल करेगा, ऐसा प्लग इन मिल जाएगा,
I
ऐड के
think,
ऊपर लगा दिया, हो गया.
These guys, Cadbury has been doing it for 2
Yeah,
years,
yeah,
right?
yeah, it's been
Where-
happening.
Yeah.
Rephrase
Yeah.
has done it, all of them have. Rephrase has done it. But
Essentially-
then again,
Changing of the name.
again I'll tell you what. Now we've been talking to a company in AI to program it and do something like this, and you know what happens is that it comes down to what money are you ready to spend at what scale. Like Cadbury has that scale to execution. अभी तुम्हारा budget थोड़ा सा भी छोटा होगा, उसका effectiveness ही नहीं दिखेगा आपको. So it's about which brand, which scale, at which level you want to do it. But so YouTube has something, I forgot the name, but YouTube had done one ad for Honda, which is where CRV का one model that they'd launched, which is called left and right. So there are two models. I think Honda CRV, left and right, innovative programming, just Google it, you will get it. So what they'd done is there's a same car, there is a same ad, they have shot it in same angle, same thing. They have shot it in two ways. One is a daylight, one is a night light. And daylight, a father is picking up a kid from a school, and night light, somebody is doing a bank robbery. Okay, and both of them are having a chase, both of them are doing the same thing. So in that ad in YouTube, you do left, it comes night scene, you do right, it comes a day scene. So, and it ends with saying that Honda CRV for both, whether you are doing a robbery or you are delivering a child. So it's technology is just the plugging into things.
Actually, Publicis had done a very interesting campaign, I think, when they changed their global leader. He had done a video integrated with YouTube, like Khushboo saying, where he is delivering a speech to people, generally about advertising, but whatever you do with the YouTube button. So let's say you stop it or forward it, he will react to that in real time. So yeah, so essentially you have the data, like she said.
I think it's SoupTube. I forgot. It's SoupTube. SoupTube still allows you. So Kellogg's has done Nor has done a recently campaign in India where based on your YouTube playlist, it will.
Bookma Show had done that.
So SoupTube allows you, but again, वो करने के लिए your minimum media spend has to be XXYY to do that. Like you can't do it in a smaller scale.
Bookma Show had done this very interesting campaign where based on which movie did you see last, there's I think Anek or which movie, Ayushman movie was there, where he would say that, hi Khushboo, you saw this movie last, don't miss this one, this is going to be even more interesting than that one. So it was completely integrated into
Your
whatever
Zomato is
history
doing your personalized messages. These days you get your name wala messages. Now Khushboo, you've done this, Falana, it's little intruding, but that's everybody is going personalized. So it's more, the larger picture is more about going personalized, going individual, going what is in it for me, sort of a messaging.
Just last question. So, what do you think has not been, something that has been developed right now? What is coming in the next 5 years? And how our agency professionals and brands can prepare them for that thing? So, what is next? If this is just another plugin that can be integrated in ads, what is it, like a augmented reality ad or something? What is it exactly? Like people, what will they see in some time?
Like he said earlier, there is this fascination with what's next, what's new, which is going to come up. I think it's a never-ending cycle. It's just going to go on. One major thing that I see, like we talked about AI right now, the real power. So right now we were all talking about AI in the sense that it is new to us. That is why we noticed it, right? So just awareness. But as the integration into whatever tools that we are using today across the board, so whether it is the creative tools that we are talking about or measuring tools that we are talking about, as the integration becomes deeper, as the systems become smarter, you would see the rate of change that she talked about earlier is going to be much faster. Keeping up with that change is going to be very, very interesting. So it's going to open up a lot of avenues across the board for all kinds of players. And whoever can harness that power, they are going to win that race.
I don't know. Like honestly speaking, I think nobody knew 2 years back COVID is going to change things so much. So we don't know what's going to happen in future. Honestly speaking, you have to take a one step at a time. Like I firmly believe that things around here, like it's so much changing. Only if you can grasp in totality what does the change mean, and align yourself to it, then there is, I think there will come a point, I strongly believe there is a lot of reverse engineering that's going to happen. There is going to be a lot of reverse engineering that will happen. There is going to be a lot of simplification of the messaging will have to happen. There has to be a decluttering that has to happen. Mind space is too much. Like I just thank my stars that I finished my graduation before mobile took over our life, and I pity my kids who have to go through education with handheld device in their preview. So it's going to be very cluttering when it comes to messaging, communication, but it's also going to be very relevant. So it's about, I think we are now on a chase to constantly stay relevant and stay relevant in a right way. So that is one thing that's not going to change. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't go into predictions. I don't go into life. I take life as it comes, and what I have to do tomorrow, what I have to do this year, let's just go with that. COVID has taught me that.
If I could just quickly add one more thing to that. So I think one change that we're looking at is a lot of fragmentation in the consumption of different media. For example, you're talking about how much time you or me or her are spending on Instagram. My children have already moved on. I'm sure her children have already moved on also from Instagram. And that's going to happen more and more. And within them also now there are multiple platforms because of the kind of personalization even at a product level, as in the platform level that these platforms are offering. Everybody is now, moving into different direction. And like I said, you'll have to go wherever the consumers are, which means you'll also have to chase them all of these different places depending on what you're trying to communicate to them.
So yeah, I think someone said Apple is going to, your smartwatches are going to take away your traditional watch market. Even today, if you want to buy a Rado watch, Rolex in Ahmedabad, you have 6 months waiting. Why? Because analog watch has not become irrelevant even in smartwatch era. And I, for good amount of 5 years, worn smartwatches and stopped wearing it. Like I realized I got excessively obsessive about the steps I take. Yeah. So that obsessively open about the steps and all, and I said, I don't want to be a technology slave. I don't want to, I practically deactivated Facebook. I run an ad agency. I have an Instagram, but Instagram time has gone down. I started reading paper, which to a very big point, if a client comes and says, I want to do print, I'm the last one to suggest that, but I started reading papers. So it's a lot of reverse engineering happening back and forth. So that right fit and delta is going to be the chase for marketers, to be honestly speaking. It's again, which TG you are going, who is going where. All of these questions are going to be constantly changing. That's not going to be one answer to it.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, guys.
So this is just taking from that performance marketing debate. Now there's a lot of conversation happening. I'm audible, right? Yeah, okay, sorry. So there's a lot of conversation happening about branding versus performance marketing, right? So from a D2C perspective, if you could throw some light on it, because nowadays it's not that difficult to have like a Shopify store or list your product on Amazon and stuff. But there is this that performance marketing, people, new brands are coming up and then they are going all out on performance. But over a period of time, they are not that sustainable, right? So if you could just throw some light on this debate between performance and branding, please.
What happens is D2C, the challenge with D2C is that the threshold of somebody who can enter the market has become very easy. India is very, very difficult. Traditionally, it has been a very difficult market for FMCG, personal care products, etc., because of the kind of distribution of stores, etc., consumer that we have in the country. But now anybody can open a store. The problem usually lies with poor strategy at the time of planning the business and what all you'll have to do in order to achieve success, also how you define success at the start of the business. So it has got nothing to, like Khushboo said earlier, performance marketing is an integrated part of what you'll have to do. In fact, irrespective whether you're D2C or any other business, eventually you'll have to come into that because it's an option available to everybody. So if you don't take it, somebody else is definitely going to take it. But if your strategy initially is performed right, when you know how much you want to invest where and what you want to get out of it, then you are sorted. The problem starts when you have little money, you not anticipated the kind of expenses that you'll have to incur in order to turn profitable, and then you have little money and you're saying, okay, I'll throw everything in performance marketing, in getting sales, and whichever agency promises the most sales is my favorite agency today, right? So then there is going to be a challenge.
I think performance marketing does not mean branding is the very wrong myth. If you understand performance marketing, first 5% of it says there is a consumer funnel. The funnel conversion that you keep looking for continuously, that only increases when you are spending on branding. So you can't expect a new brand to come in and start showing a product ad, USP ad, and me to buy it. You will have to first make me buy a brand. That why am I buying? If it is a gut health, then Good Bug is a good brand. First I have to convince with that. I'm not going to directly jump onto the product. So D2C brands which directly take a race to performance marketing are never going to be sustainable. Trust me, it's never going to be. No brand is. Your pen project coming as a D2C brand has to open stores right now. They just opened second store. Your Autumnberg is competing and giving hard time to Bajaj is because it solved a very big problem that earlier electric companies didn't solve, that कि मेरा पंखा डिसेंबल पंखा IKEA की तरह घर पे कोई आदमी simply assemble कर सकता है कि नहीं है, right? But again today to become a household they had to spend on branding, then the conversion happens. So branding and performance are not exclusive to each other, they are inclusive of each other. That's the way to look at it. Without it, it cannot sustain.
I thank you, Khushboo and Chirag, both to coming down here and have a wonderful session. I hope audience would have really enjoyed and would have learned, at least I have learned a lot here. So thanks for coming down and briefing with us. Thank you very much, Neeraj, Vipul, Khushboo, Chirag, and everybody and all the audience. So those who are here till 5:30 from morning 9:30, let us clap for each other. And I'm sure this commitment will make you a brand tomorrow. So next future is you will be called as a speaker over here. Please work hard. Because today you have invested a lot in your time, energy, money. This knowledge, this experience, this sharing will go a long way with you. Thank you very much, students, for coming. And let us all clap for Sanjay Bhai, who created this platform. Thank you, Sanjay Bhai. And there is one word called volunteer, for which I always call Sanjay Bhai as soldier. He's a soldier of AMA. He works for AMA, though he doesn't work for AMA. He's a volunteer, but he's always available over here. And this kind of volunteer, this kind of soldiers make AMA as a brand, and so as you all. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please fill up this feedback form. This feedback is very important. We are feedback and demand-driven organization. Please fill up this feedback form so that next year we can grow ourselves and we will grow together. Thank you very much. Good evening.